I've been with WWE a long time, and I've seen WWE when they've done both, where they've been very dependent upon stars, Stone Cold Steve Austin, a Rock, a Cena, a Roman, or something like that, or a Hogan. And I've also seen where they just put the name WWE on the billboard and they sell out. To you, as a defense mechanism and survival mechanism, are you trying to establish the GCW brand where you can just be GCW
Mm-hmm.
without, in case you lose a big star? Is that your main focus as creating the
Oh
company
yeah,
as compared to stars?
yeah, and you have to do that on the indies because especially now more than ever, there's the two companies at the top of the wrestling business, WWE and AEW. I mean, these guys, look how many people are under contract. The second somebody becomes a big name on the indies, and they don't even have to have been there around for a while. You could be a 20-year-old kid. The second somebody comes up and gets a little buzz, WWE or AEW signs them up, and they're gone. So it's imperative, it's essential that you make your brand as much of the draw as any of your wrestlers, and GCW has absolutely done that. Fortunately, people know when they come to ECW, they're going to get a certain style of show, a certain kind of experience, and that's something that we've built. That credibility is something we've built over 10 years now, where people can trust that, regardless of who's booked on the show, they are going to get a certain type of experience that they probably aren't going to get anywhere else in independent wrestling. So you absolutely have to build your brand, and your brand has to be the number one draw. If you're counting on wrestlers uh, on the indies, then again, you're going to get you're going to get left behind.
I was in WWE when we went over the top, and we were way too early. And Vince always said, "I don't like being ahead of the curve. I like being slightly behind the curve." It's the old adage. Pioneers get arrows, settlers get land, and we were way too early. We almost didn't make it with that. Things have changed significantly since then. It's no longer a matter of TV contracts, which ECW probably would have been around a long time if you hadn't had to worry about regular TV contracts, if you'd had the internet like it is now. What is the future of this? I mean, and specifically, it's like some brands or some streaming devices that are used. What is, you see the streaming companies stepping in? Netflix is taking a huge stake in Major League Baseball right now. What is the future of people viewing live entertainment?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if I mean, again, that's a question where the answer probably changes every day. For us, of course, streaming literally changed our business and changed the game, and we were at the forefront of that for indie wrestling. I'd like to think, um, in the most respectful way, that we actually paved the way for so many others to make significant revenue off of streaming their shows on the indies. When we first started, the business actually, the business of streaming on the indies actually started before us, but it was almost dead when we came around. There was nobody making any, there was no significant traction. There was no real um, quality platforms doing it. When we did Spring Break 1, it was Flow Slam, um, and Spring Break 2 was where we saw the first version of Fight, which is now Triller TV. We did such incredible numbers ahead of the game, ahead of everybody else on um, both our first show on Flow Slam and then our first show on what was then known as Fight TV, that they said to us, "Wait a minute, we want to stream all of your shows live." And we went to a pay-per-view model, which at the time, there was not much of on the indies, and we did incredible numbers, and um, and it paved the way for other streaming services to pop up. And essentially, within 2 years, everybody was suddenly streaming live again on the indies. So is that the future for indie wrestling in 2026? I don't know. For us, it works pretty well, but I don't know what's next. Is there something else coming? um I'm not sure, but for us, of course, it's been such a strong piece of our business. And again, we're fortunate to have done so well with streaming, and um, that it goes hand in hand with the success and the growth of our business. So I don't know what's next, but that is certainly right now. But yeah, I'm sure. You know, that next wave or that next thing, which is, I guess, yet to be identified, is right around the corner.
In a mineral boom, like a gold boom or a silver boom or anything like that, they always say invest in picks and shovels. Don't invest in the commodity itself. You're invested in picks and shovels out in Vegas coming up next week. Explain to us a little bit, because I think it's fantastic what you're doing out there, that you are basically the infrastructure for all of these independent wrestling shows out there.
Yeah. So we host something called The Collective, which is used to be a 3-day festival. It's now 4 days: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We do, I guess it's, let's see, 3, 4, 4, 8, 11, 12, 13 shows we'll be hosting over 4 days. I want to say 7 or 8 of those are ours. And then we host, partner promotions. So this year we're hosting Progress from the UK. We're hosting New Japan by way of Desperados, El Desperados, Death Vegas Invitational. We're hosting JCW, the Juggalos, who are going to be going on after us on Friday night. It's spring break. And we have a few other partners. And, it's basically nonstop indie wrestling for 4 days at the Horseshoe in Las Vegas. It's our version of WrestleMania. It's a really, really even longer version of WrestleMania than WrestleMania, if you can imagine that. And it's awesome. I mean, we see literally fans from all over the world, people who are coming into town for WrestleMania that want to catch a little glimpse of the indies, that might pop in for 1 or 2 shows just to see what it's all about. And then we see some people who are literally coming to Vegas not for WrestleMania, but just for The Collective, because they love indie wrestling. They're diehards. And they want to experience it and kind of see this be a part of it and just live wrestling for a week. It's again, it's a really cool experience. All of our events stream live on Triller TV. And it's every event that takes place over those 4 days, it's something different. It's not just GCW show A, GCW show B. They're all different themed events, different wrestlers. I think it's, of course I'm biased, but I think it's the best, indie wrestling weekend of the year, just as it is for, WWE fans. So, it's a very unique experience. I love it. I can't wait.
SaveWithConrad.com.
Yeah, I'm Justin Ruffin from Knoxville, Tennessee. What got me to Save with Conrad was the 83 Weeks podcast. I really wasn't thinking about getting rid of any debt. I just wanted to cash out some equity in the house to do remodeling. But I did both, so that was pretty awesome. Worked out great. Redid the foyer, built pantry space, and there's little odds and ends when I first bought the house that I wanted to take care of, and we were able to take care of it. So, paid off 2 cars and some credit card debt. So probably all in all, getting $30,000 in that, and then I got some $30,000 more equity out of the house, and got still plenty of equity left over. So payment's good. I lowered my interest rate. I'm in a much better spot than I was. Super easy. Everybody was great. Very, very awesome people. Francis and Steve were great to work with. They're awesome. Made it for a very easy, seamless experience. I'd probably say all in all, probably $1,000 a month at least. I'm lowered my interest rate, especially the way the interest rates are right now, which is, that's amazing. I'm Justin Bruckman from Knoxville, Tennessee. I saved over $1,000 with SaveWithConrad.com, and I did a lot of renovations with that money as well.
NMLS number 212, non-equal housing lender. SaveWithConrad.com.